Equity and inclusion are vital for the City of Greensboro's ability to grow and innovate in such a fast-changing environment. One Greensboro is a monthly show that highlights some of the ways the Office of Equity and Inclusion honors the observances listed on our Heritage Calendar and spotlights a City of Greensboro employee in a segment we call The One. These observances are an integral part of the National Equal Employment Opportunity and Civil Rights Program and encourage us to live as one people, one community, one Greensboro.
Welcome to this edition of One Greensboro. This month we are celebrating Pride, and what better place to celebrate than in front of and in the Guilford Green Foundation and the LGBTQ Center. I'm so excited because Pride brings so many things. It brings colors, it brings heritage, and it brings a sense of community that I'm hoping we can talk about during this episode. We also will talk with Lana, and we'll talk with Melvie and find out what Lana's up to as far as a little Namaste work, and also talk with Melvie to see exactly what the programs are that are going on here at the center and the foundation. So as always, sit back, relax, and let's enjoy Pride Month. During today's episode, we will be talking to a few wonderful people here at the Guilford Green Foundation and the LGBTQ Center. I am so happy this month to be talking about Pride and to actually talk to one of our wonderful staff members here, and she's also a community advocate and also one of our city employees who's going to show me a few things, I think, as far as yoga. Lana. Hi, my friend Lana.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. So Lana, tell us a little bit about yourself, city-wise, but especially this volunteer work you do here at Guilford Green.
Sure. So my name is Lana Skripnik. I use they, them pronouns. I work at the City of Greensboro as a communications specialist, and I also volunteer here at the center. And pre-pandemic, I taught a live yoga class here every other Thursday. For now, things have shifted online, but we're hoping to bring live and in-person queer affirming yoga classes back sometime this summer. So
wow, that sounds so exciting. So is this your woosah from your city job? Because I know you have a lot going on at the city, but what makes this so relaxing for you? Why do you do this?
So it's more so to benefit the community than myself, but I obviously also get a lot out of doing this. I originally came to yoga a few years ago. I was going through a really hard time in my life. I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and mental health issues. Being a member of the LGBTQ plus community isn't always easy, so there's often a lot of trauma and mental health stuff associated with that. Obviously, it's not easy to live being in this community in a world that's set up for, mostly patriarchal or heterosexual systems. So with things like anti-LGBTQ plus legislation coming out, always, like all the time.
Absolutely.
Whether people not honoring your identity. So this was set up as a safe place for people to just come, be themselves, explore themselves, get in their bodies in whatever way feels safe, and work out some of that anxiety or trauma that we might be facing in our everyday lives.
I love it. I love it. And one of the things, I have to toot your horn while we're here on the mats, you were very instrumental at the City of Greensboro, which I thank you for getting our pronouns up, running, and on our signature lines. Do you want to tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, so pronouns are basically ways that you or other people refer to you as. Pronouns can include examples such as he, her, she, him, they, them, or any other plethora of pronouns that are out there. The way we use pronouns is to affirm and encourage somebody else's identity, to show them that we respect them, and it's becoming luckily, it's becoming a trend nationally for organizations to use their pronouns to signify that we're an ally, we're an affirming place to work for people who identify as LGBTQ plus or not, to our residents in the community, because we never know, we can't tell how somebody might identify just by looking at them, right? And we want to affirm and honor all of our residents here in the City of Greensboro. So it was a really important initiative to be able to do that with our staff using our pronouns to signify that we're a safe space and we're a safe employer. And that's part of what I do here with the yoga is establishing a safe space, a space where people can come and be themselves. Wow. A lot of times in traditional workout settings or even yoga studios, you can walk in and there's not really a lot of people that you feel like look like you or maybe represent the various identities that you bring into the space. So it was important for me, if we are working with things like trauma or anxiety or depression, which are all very beneficial. Yoga has been proven to help relieve some of those symptoms, but I wanted people to really be able to come as their whole selves and feel safe in that space while they work through whatever it is they want to work through on the mat.
I love it. I love it. And what better space to do that in? What better space? And my last question, what gives you joy about us celebrating June? I know we talked last year because you were the one, but now a year later, what gives you joy, especially that some of the things are lifting and we're really able to celebrate this year?
Yeah, I think over the last year, and I find this is true for a lot of people, some friends I know, people in my personal circles, is that we've had a lot of time to sit at home and reflect about who we are. So a lot of people during this time found their identities. Maybe it's their first time stepping into the LGBTQ plus community. This might be their first Pride Month that they're celebrating. This is the first Pride Month since almost 2 years ago now that we get to actually go out and celebrate and be community. For me as a queer person, the most healing thing is being in my community and seeing myself reflected in the people around me. And that's what I've really missed with restrictions and staying at home, is that I didn't get to be among my people.
Absolutely.
So that's my favorite part about Pride, is just seeing everybody being out and being themselves, and having other people like them represented there and mingling with them and sharing our stories and having our voices heard and uplifted. It doesn't often happen in everyday society. So I feel like this is the one month where a lot of positive change can happen because people are more focused on listening to the LGBTQ plus community and our stories and what we have to say, and also just honoring us as people and us honoring ourselves.
I love it. I love it. So with that honor, because I always mess it up and everybody gets on me, is the word namaste?
Yeah, so in
Tell
yoga,
me namaste so you can explain and we can get to namaste ying, I guess is the word. Yes.
So namaste loosely translates into I see and honor the light in you, and it's in the Buddhist philosophy that yoga comes from, because of course we don't want to appropriate the word and we want to give it the proper respect, from India where this practice originated. So it translates into I see the light in you and I honor and recognize it, and it's the same light that's in me. So it's used as a phrase to connect people to each other, that we're all connected to each other and the universe. So we'll usually close out the practice with a namaste as a sign of respect. So you take your hands to heart center and then we just bow ourselves in and say namaste.
I love it. Welcome to this edition of The One. The One is an intimate conversation with City of Greensboro employees that are working to create a culture of oneness in our organization and our city. This conversation will allow you to get to know them and hear their thoughts on our journey to create One Greensboro. Our employee this month is Phelan Fletcher, Assistant Park Manager and co-lead of our LGBTQ plus Employee Resource Group here at the City of Greensboro. Hi, Phelan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. Doing fine. So glad I can finally get you at the table.
Yes, of course.
I thought about it and I was like, other people have red tables and other color tables. This is my brown table.
I like it.
Yes, thank you very much. So first question, just tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do here with the city, and also about co-leading the Employee Resource Group.
Okay, so I'm Phelan Fletcher, Assistant Manager at Barber Park. I grew up in North Carolina and have recently been working with the city since October of 2018. Over at Barber Park, we have a lot of new stuff going on. We have the event center, which was one of the main things that I was hired on to do. We have a new maintenance building. We've had renovations at our Simpkins facility. We have Gateway Gardens Center that's opening as well that we're going to be managing. So lots of new improvements over at Barber Park that I'm excited to be a part of, because it is a gem in East Greensboro that a lot of people may not even be aware of all the amenities we have in the park. But then me personally, like I said, I grew up in North Carolina. I worked in Ohio for a little while, but back home a little closer. My wife and I wanted to be closer to family. So our son, he's 3, so we could be a little closer to family and all that. So it's been great to be back, that's for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
I forgot you have a 3-year-old. I don't know why I thought he was 5.
No, yeah, he's smart enough to be 5.
There
I
you
think.
go.
But yeah, and then as far as being the co-lead for our LGBTQ plus ERG, Lana and I work well together. To be honest with you, Lana is the best at leading this group, and I'm kind of the support member, and we try to keep things going. But yes, it's been exciting to kind of have that support from the city and try to keep things building for the future.
Wonderful. And I know she and I talked about it on another part of the segment. We're just so proud now we have our pronouns on our signature line. That was a big win for all of us.
Yeah,
so,
and that was a big thing that they were pushing for, and I'm glad to be a part of it to see that come through in our signatures.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Great. Well, tell me, what's the most interesting project that you're working on right now? I know you've done some stuff, but what right now are you working on?
Well, I would say the most exciting thing is that this weekend our spray grounds open up. So, obviously with last year we were closed. We didn't open up the spray grounds last year. So I personally am excited to bring Cooper back and have him play. So I know that the community is going to be really excited to have that again. So working on the final details of training and getting everything ready. So that's
Wonderful.
the most exciting one I would say right now.
Will there be a limit? Because I'm just curious for me. Are you all going to...
Right now, I don't think we actually have established a limit.
Okay.
We're going to kind of play it by ear. The first weekend is going to be a little crazy, probably. So right now, I think we're just going to stick with like the outdoor gathering requirements, as there is a good bit of space out there. So hopefully people will space out. I've noticed a lot of times people are self-regulating, so I'm hoping that is still going to be the case.
Perfect. Can't wait to bring my daughter. She loves it out there.
Good.
What is the person that inspires you, or who inspires you? Who would you say that is?
So in college, I had a professor and advisor that was really influential to me. His name was Nelson Cooper. He actually passed away from ALS. He developed it, and it was a rapidly advancing type. But he just inspired so many people. I mean, he was more than just a teacher. He was a mentor, became a friend, and was someone that when we came back to visit from Ohio, we would call him to have lunch with him and stuff. And one of the most inspiring quotes that he had towards the end was, he said, "Know that your life matters to many, so do good work, laugh every day, and press on." And that's kind of something that I keep as a little motto. It's up in my office to kind of keep, remembering that no matter what, just be happy, do what you can, and you matter. People love you. That's what's important.
I love that. You're going to send that to me.
I sure
Joan.
will.
I love
yeah.
that. I love that. So with that, on the flip side, if you could swap places with anybody, who would you swap places with and why?
These kind of interview questions always get me because I never know. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm really happy being me. I know it sounds cheesy.
I love it. No, it doesn't.
But, I mean, if I had to pick, I can't think of a person in particular, but I would say somebody that's rich, that has like a mansion on a private island. Just give me that for a day and no worries in the world. Would be good. Yeah.
As long as
and
you
maybe
have some
I could
food. You got to have some food there too.
Yeah, well, I'd have a private chef or something.
Thank you. There you go. And somebody to make sure everything's in order.
Like leave them a note to be like, look, when you get back, write a check to this account.
I love it. Okay, all right. As long as you share it with me, I'd love it more. Okay.
Fair.
And how is celebrating, because we are going to truly celebrate this month, how is celebrating Pride a way to move us forward in your mind at One Greensboro?
Well, I just think it's important for everyone to acknowledge differences, but also the sameness. I mean, it's important to embrace the differences that people have and understand and not look past them, because there are differences that all make us stand out. And I think it's important that we get the chance to celebrate that. And this year I'm excited too that we are going to have some Pride events coming back to Greensboro and everyone getting back together. So, it's just... I do feel for the most part that I can be who I am in Greensboro. I've I don't hide who I am, and so I do feel very comfortable in this city. But there is something about being at Pride when you just,
I love it.
it's just a feeling,
Absolutely.
So I do enjoy it. So I am excited that we get to celebrate, and just the recognition from the city of having this ERG is really important as well.
Absolutely, and I think we have some lunch and learns planned
Yes,
for the
we do.
month.
Yep.
So would you say we are moving in the direction here also for the city?
Oh yeah, I would say so. I mean, when we did one of the last lunch and learns, I believe last year, Lana led it, and it was, well attended. We did one way back. It was attended well, but then the next one we did was a tremendous turnout. I believe it was like 80 to 100 people we had on at a time. So seeing that support and people voluntarily jumping onto a call for a lunch hour was really inspiring to me, to see that people do actually care to learn and, at least get educated, to open your mind a little bit more.
Absolutely. And I think she did the genderbread man training, if I remember.
Yeah,
yes.
they did, yes.
Yes,
Yep.
and it was well received. So we've got to keep going. And I know what you said, you are a powerhouse on this duo. It's not just Lana, it is both of you all. And I thank you. You've been there from the beginning. So thank you so much for everything you're doing for the ERG and the city as well.
Of
and
course.
thank you for this chat today.
Of course, no problem. It's good talking with you.
Good talking with you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Now we are moving forward to our second part of our interview, which I'm so excited about because I haven't had a chance to sit down and talk with Melvie. Melvie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well, Maria. Thank you for being here. Thank
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad we got a chance to connect because I can't wait to hear about your story and just find out what's going on at the center, and also maybe some of the partnerships and things you all have been working on in the year that I have been here, because it doesn't feel like it's been a year already.
Right.
Yes. So tell us about yourself and maybe a little bit about your background and what you do here at the center.
Certainly. So my name is Melvie Shaw. I am the LGBTQ Center Manager here at the Guilford Green Foundation. I grew up here in Greensboro, went to school at Northwest, went to college at UNCW, and then turned around and went out to Los Angeles for 15 years. Came back to Greensboro about 5 years ago, and driving back across the country with my life in my car, Pat McCrory signed House Bill 2. And I started to ask myself what I was doing and whether or not going back to North Carolina was the right decision. But I found myself back here, and the opportunity to work with the Guilford Green Foundation presented itself. And I got to meet a lot of the really fantastic people in this community who were coming together to provide a strong community support system despite the efforts of the governor at the time. And it was extremely inspiring to watch the community react in the way that it did, and was something I knew I wanted to be a part of. So when the opportunity to join the Guilford Green Foundation became available, and the opportunity to open up the LGBTQ Center was an option, it was something I really wanted to be a part of, and am quite proud to be part of this organization.
Wonderful. So just out of curiosity, because again, I always have learning moments, I said center. So do you work for both, or do you work for the foundation and then the center is here? Could you explain that to everyone?
So we are effectively one and the same.
Got
The
it.
Guilford Green Foundation has been in existence for, I think we turned 24 this year. The center is an offering by the foundation that has grown from the efforts of the community to fundraise and support itself. And the center and the foundation are under the same banner. We are in the same building, and all work together.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I bet now you're a little bit glad that you came to North Carolina, right?
I am.
Good.
I am.
And we're glad to have you.
It
We're
feels
glad
like
to have you.
it feels like home again.
Oh, good. Yes. And I went to Smith. So again,
Okay.
yes, I'm Greensboro. Yes. So Guilford County. There you go.
Fantastic.
Tell us now about why the month of June was chosen for Pride Month. Why?
Certainly. So Pride Month being in June wasn't necessarily a choice. It is born on the back of the Stonewall Riots, which happened in June of 1969. And those riots were effectively the first Pride Parade. They were the necessity that the community felt at the time. That was a culmination of a bunch of events that were happening not just in Stonewall in New York near the Stonewall Inn, but across the country on the West Coast as well. There were several key moments that led up to those riots kicking off, and Pride Month is a way for us to continuously remember that the fight for equality was born on the back of a riot. It was born on the backs of black and brown trans people, as well as the LGBTQ community who came together and rioted at Stonewall in New York. And so every year in June, while it feels like a celebration, we are in fact reminding ourselves that the fight for equality is not yet over, and there's always going to be more to be done.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad we're partnering on several things. We have and we will be with the city. So I'm excited about that. And just to let you know, we have our heritage calendar for the city of Greensboro where we celebrate Pride Month. We also celebrate Greensboro Pride, which now I'm so glad is coming back this year full force. And we also celebrate Trans Month in November as well, too. So we definitely are trying our best to make sure that message gets out there. So
that's fantastic. That's
wonderful. Wonderful. So how has your involvement here at Guilford Green and also just working to build the center up, like you said, from that first point to now where we are today, influence you to the person you are today?
Certainly. So in terms of how it's influenced me, you know, at one point in time I thought I am transgender, and at one point in time I thought that I would get to a point in my transition where I would be done with it, that I would be done transitioning. And through that process, I've learned that that's not necessarily the case. And my work here at the foundation has really kind of helped me to understand that that's okay. It's really kind of led me to understand that part of being a member of this community means helping as many other members of this community as I can. And that in and of that fact, I always feel like I will be within the bounds of this community and hopefully willing to help as many people as possible.
That is great. That is great. And with that being said, are there any celebrations or traditions that you do in particular this month that you'd like to tell our viewers? Just some fun stuff that you like to do?
Certainly. So, you know, during the month of June, it's oftentimes an opportunity for me to think back about the folks in my life that helped me get my transition and journey started. And a lot of those folks are in Los Angeles, but there are more than a few that are here in Greensboro as well. It's not just my biological family, but it's my chosen family, it's my friends, it's my community. And taking time to reach out and connect with those folks again, even if it's been a year since I've talked to them last, is really important. You know, reflecting back on the moments in my life that have led me to where I am right now is something that's part of Pride Month for me, and I think it always will be. You know, it's not been easy. There have been some really, really rough patches, but if I don't take those times to kind of think back about where the successes were, I'm going to repeat the problems. So,
And not to mention, you have your fabulous purple hair. So I want you to celebrate that purple hair the whole month long, because is it normally purple? That's my favorite color. That's why I keep looking at it. It's my favorite couple.
It's been purple for the last couple of years, and it'll probably stay that way for the foreseeable
I
future.
love it. So celebrate that hair. That's what I want you to do. So you kind of touched on it just now. What does pride mean to you in essence? If you could pick one word, what is that word that describes what it means to you?
To boil it down to a single word is really hard, but I think to me, pride means community. I mean, pride means knowing that the folks that come to this space, the folks that I see at our events and at our programs, the folks that I see around Greensboro that, you know, I've connected with through different opportunities here, that they are all part of the community that I hope to be a part of. And there's a lot of pride to be found in that.
Absolutely. I love community. I love that word. And last but not least, we are trying our best to create one Greensboro here at the City of Greensboro. That's my motto, my theme for the Office of Equity and Inclusion. What do you think we can do partnering with you all here, partnering as a community to make it one Greensboro as far as the LGBTQ plus community?
You know, I think promoting the opportunity to listen and learn is one of the most important things that we can do. You know, so much of what we try and do here at the center stems from the fact that we are open and ready and willing to sit and listen to anyone that stops by. You know, that may be somebody who is just finding their footing in the community. It may be somebody who disagrees with who we are as people within this community. But being willing to sit down and listen and talk to either of those folks on the same level is really important. You know, we're always going to have folks who are challenged by who we are. We're always going to have to deal with community members that feel like we shouldn't have a place here. But outright denying them the opportunity to speak is only going to serve to greater those differences. It's only going to foster more anger. If we can sit and talk to one or two of those folks and give them the same respect that we would give anyone else, hopefully that's an opportunity to spread some information that they may not have found on their own.
I love it. I love it. And my hope is that segments such as we're doing now with this One Greensboro show, people will listen and understand that it's okay to have those conversations. That's all we say. Just take the time to talk and then in turn take the time to hear. So I love what you said, because we're going to make this community better. One step at a time.
Doing our best.
That's right. Well, Melvie, thank you so very much. I love this chat, and I know there's some great things happening here, and I'm sure we'll be back again to kind of talk about even more what you all are doing here and how we can also partner even more.
We look forward to the opportunity and really appreciate you stopping by today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.